Join me on an esoteric journey on the sealed path through this 97 card tarot. Hello, welcome. My name is Sarah of Sarah's Tarot and Oracle for the Soul, and today we will be doing a walkthrough and comparison of the Sealed Path Tarot with the Rider-Waite Smith and the Thoth. Is this the most esoteric tarot deck on the market? I would say it's one of them, yes. The Sealed Path is a pact, an agreement between the deck and the current, according to Bergen in his intro on page 7. So this deck comes with an amazing book that talks about how long it took David Bergen to create this deck, which it took him 7 years to create the artwork and the book. I love that there's a note in the back that states that no AI was used in the making of this deck, which is so important, and I love that. So this is what it looks like. This is copyright 2026 by US Games Systems Inc. And they sent me this deck for my fair and honest review of this tarot deck, which I think is beautiful and amazing, and I can't wait to get into it. Bergen takes the esoteric even further than the Golden Dawn by including the planets of Uranus and Neptune to his 45 minor suits. He excludes the aces and all of the minors from having planetary associations. Bergen had to come up with his own astrological combinations for his 5th suit, which is the orbs. Orbs represent the soul or ether. This is the element of life itself. And now I'm quoting, the regal orb born by a sovereign represents the world and is the world in miniature. That's on page 8. Hermetic belief is the reason Shakespeare named his theater the Globe, because of its link between the microcosm, the globe, and the macrocosm, the world itself. I really like the inclusion of the 5th element of spirit. It follows the elements recognized by the pentagram in magical workings. All right, so I received all that information from the first few pages. When you open up the book, you have introduction and then the card interpretations. So this deck is really, really interesting. It's a different system. Like I said, it has 5 minor suits instead of 4. And he added extra court cards. And we'll get to the court cards later. So there's like a little bit, like, I don't know where this comes from, the Sealed Path. I don't know if the Sealed Path is a movie or a book. It doesn't say. It says, why the Sealed Path Tarot? A sealed path perhaps suggests the idea of a pathway that is sealed shut or that is closed off. But a seal also can mean a pact or a pledge, a trusted agreement between 2 parties. This is the idea around which this deck was created. So the pact is between the current, the person consulting the tarot, and the tarot itself, with due compassion for whatever reason the current might have for consulting the cards. It is with this sense of compassion in mind that the Sealed Path Tarot was created. We have about the 5 suits, and then he changed 8 of the cards. So he changed the Fool to the Portal, the Magician to the Pathfinder, the Chariot to the Carriage, the Hermit to the Transforming Void, the Wheel of Fortune to the Great Wheel, and the Hanged Man to the Hanging Man. And now that one doesn't really make sense to me. I don't really understand what's the difference between the Hanged Man and the Hanging Man. I guess one, it's like the Hanged Man, that's something done to you, where the Hanging Man can be like, oh, it's just a yoga pose and he's hanging upside down. He has changed his perspective. So you know what? Okay, I do like that change. That makes sense. Then we have temperance, moderation, which that's a good change. I like that because that's really what temperance represents, is moderation and alchemy and things like that. So I like that one. And then the devil is changed to the scorned one. And then we also have metals, minerals, and the Queen's colors. So we have this chart here, which gives you the suit, the element, the mineral, the faculty, and then the state. And then he goes over the numbers and what they mean to him. So it's not quite numerology. It's a different take on the numbers. And then we have the aces, which he separates out. So the Ace of Wands is essence of fire, power, essence, element, mental spirit is fire. And that's how it goes down for all of the suits. Gold is the mineral associated with all the major arcana. And so he talks about his changes, and that is, like I said, he assigned his own astrological symbols to his deck, his suit, the orbs. And then we have 2 through 10 for fire, which is wands, water, which is cups, discs / earth, swords or air, and then the orbs. And then the court cards, he says you can separate them out and use them as an oracle. This little chart right here. So really what it gives you is what the element is, and then the metals and minerals. So like shield bearer of swords is iron and amethyst. So you would have to do a lot more meditation and intuitive work and journaling, I think, to connect with his cast of characters, because there's really not much given. And since he added 2 more court cards plus his orb court cards, there's a lot more to learn. And so he talks about using it, how you can remove the 5th deck, how you can remove the court cards and work with the court cards individually, and how you can, make the deck your own, work with it how you feel comfortable. And how, the tarot is a book of infinite stories, and it tells our story, our personal stories. It can tell the stories of the world, of humanity. The Rider-Waite system has page, knight, queen, and king, where the Thoth has princess, prince, queen, and knight. Bergen has champion, princess, queen, shield bearer, and sage. And what's cool about his court cards are they are all female or neutral, but they are represented by female characters. And then right here, we jump right into the cards. You get like a few paragraphs, and then you have key meanings, and it does give you reversed. So for the portal is potential new horizons, visionary vistas, beginnings, a window of opportunity, restrictions, potential blocks. And we get that even with you get a little less, but you still get a little write up for the swords or the minors, and then you still get the key meanings and reversed. And then, okay, we do get a little bit more. Okay, so I was wrong. We do get full write-ups for the new court cards, which is nice because they're all new. And then we have spreads. We have the cross spread, the relationship spread, the negotiation spread, the decision spread, the undercurrent spread, the flow of time spread, the past reflects the future, and then the Ankh spread, the sealed path spread, which is 8 cards. Actually, 9 cards. Okay. And then we have about the author. And like I said, it took him 7 years to create this deck. And I can tell it's so deep and rich with symbolism and imagery and all of that. I don't usually plug myself. I'm not good at plugging myself, but if you are interested in buying a copy, if you could use my Amazon link below, I will get a small commission, or I will link this deck directly to US Games. You can purchase directly from them. Either way, I don't get a commission from that. Also, if you go to my Buy Me a Coffee, you can purchase my husband's Alien and Lenormand or purchase a reading from me. It's 15 minutes for $20 over Zoom. It's a full Celtic cross reading, past, present, potential, future. I always say potential future because for me, tarot is a conversation with your subconscious self, and it helps guide you on your path of life, and you can change your direction at any time, which I think is lovely. Your fate is literally in your hands. So when you open this up, it has two different sides, and it's actually really easy because it's got this little thing here. I kind of like that. I wish more decks had that. Get the backs of the deck. So this book is really great and in-depth, and I actually read, you know, the intro and all about this, and I flipped through the middle and I looked at the spreads and read about the author. See, this is the note I was talking about. No artificial intelligence software or AI text applications have been used in the production of the cards for this deck, in the guidebook, or in the accompanying reader's companion, which I love that. But as you see here, we have the portal, the fool, and the fool, and they're all very, very different. The colors are, you know, pretty similar. There's lots of golds in all three. This, it looks like, you know, the portal, the womb, and the birth canal. It's interesting that the womb kind of looks mechanical. It looks kind of like a machine. But I do like this representation, and we have the astrological sigils here. We have that this is gold. We have the 0 here and the title, which is nice for all of them. Now for the Pathfinder, for 1, Arcanium 1, we have the Pathfinder, the Magician, and the Magus. So all three are different. Now the Pathfinder has more purples with some gold, and the Magician and the Magus there's a lot more yellow. It's interesting that the Magician and the Magus are doing the as above, so below on both. And we have all the elements on the table for the Magician, and here we have the different, we have elements and astrological signs. And here we have different religious symbols as well as astrological signs here. But we have the symbols for, I think it's like earth and water. The triple spiral here, so very rich in symbolism, which I really like. For the High Priestess, we have the pillars here, and the colors, the blue and the blue. Oops, forgot to change it here. For the Priestess and the Thoth, the pillars are not, they're kind of like going off, but we still have some of these symbols. What is she holding in her hands? My eyesight is not good. I can't really see. There's something like she has an orb or a globe, and she's holding it between her hands, and there's something in the orb. Let's see if it says in the book. So it says, with the influence of the moon being so dominant in this card, we can expect that illusions will play an important part in any interpretation of a reading in which this card appears. The nature of the High Priestess is and her advice may vary with the influence of the surrounding cards. Perhaps we have been interpreting a situation in which we find ourselves as being more sustainable and favorable than it actually is. This card warns us against becoming blind to what we would like to believe rather than seeing what the situation is actually offering. The 2 scroll columns featured on this card also offer us the closure of one chapter and the opening of a new one, a turning of the page. The High Priestess is the unrevealed mystery, the veiled chaste maiden to the mother of the following arcanum. In this role, she offers the feminine aspect of spiritual guidance. Because of its Capricorn's nature, this arcanum, when drawn reversed, is inclined to be more volatile than other reverse cards. When reversed, the chaste temporal virgin could well fall into excess, with her character changing markedly to become the very opposite of her positive attributes. Purity becomes decadence, chastity turns into sexual indulgence, and intuitive insight degrades into mere intellectual conceit. Key meanings: intuition, cautioning against illusions, turning the page, a potential for self-deceit. Reversed, being fooled by illusions, decadence, being shallow and capricious, indulging in self-deceit. I'm sorry, I know I'm saying that word wrong, but I don't know why they have to make it so tongue twisty. It's just me, I know. Just me. All right, so it doesn't say anything really about what this is in her hands, but I do like that it ties into the 5th element card, and it's kind of like an update on the scrolls that she has in the Rider-Waite-Smith. And in this one, in the Thoth, she just has her hands open, that the world is her oyster. All right, the Empress, she's holding that globe again, but it looks more like a star. We have the astrological symbols around her. So a big departure from the Rider-Waite-Smith and also the Thoth. Here we have the Emperor, and you can see the 3. At least it's all very yellow and gold, and I mean orange for all 3. So we have the High Priest, the Hierophant, and the Hierophant. I like that he's called the High Priest, and it goes with the High Priestess, so I like that change. And he's got his medical book right here. So updated. It's not really a Bible, it's a medical book. We have Ankhs and the Scarab here. So the Lovers is vastly different in the updated. It's kind of hinted at people with, you can see feet here. And these potentially could be arms and hands, but it's very abstract. You have the Lovers, you have 2 sets of Lovers up here. So here's another change. We have the Carriage, the Chariot, and the Chariot. three very different cards. We have Strength and Strength, so it's named the same name as the Rider-Waite-Smith, but the imagery is more like the Thoth. However, the Thoth is not called Strength, it's Adjustment. So again, another change between the two. But this right here and this, the sword, it's kind of looks like a sword pointing up, where the sword here is pointing down. She has her hands down like it's balanced with earth. This is kind of like a representation, almost like, you know, the energy is focused down as well. So this is it's a cool combination. The sealed path of the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth. Instead of the Hermit, we have the Transforming Void, and I like this with this seashell above her head, and this is very feminine, the pinks. It's a lovely card. Then we have the Great Wheel, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Thoth, it is just fortune. It's interesting, the Great Wheel has people walking around it, and you have the astrological sigils, and you have writing. And then here on this one, you have animals instead of humans, and then the sigils, and the same with fortune and the Thoth. Going to 3 different cards. So it follows the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Sealed Path Tarot, where it's both justice, and then of course in the Thoth it is lust. So we have the Hanged Man, and then we have the Hanging Man. Now, see, the way I viewed it, I was like, oh, the Hanging Man, it could be, you know, he's doing yoga. But this one looks more like yoga. As does this one, whether this looks like somebody hung him upside down like that. But it's interesting that this looks like a cocoon. And, you know, caterpillars do. They wrap themselves up in a cocoon, and then they turn into beautiful butterflies. So that's kind of cool. It's like you have the cave and the night sky, and it's just, the perspective is weird. It's like, okay, this looks like the night sky, or it could be water, and this is reflecting, but this looks a lot more light than the night sky here. You know, what's that tale that we're all in the cave and we don't realize that there's a huge world outside the cave and we can leave at any time? That's what this is bringing up for me, which is very cool symbolically. And it's like this Hanging Man is on his way, or her way, to enlightenment. Or, in the case of the tarot, death, which death is just a portal to the next world. So I really like that the portal and death are very similar, except instead of being inside the portal, they're outside. Or inside the womb, they're outside the womb. So the womb's here, and then they're outside it, but the portal is here. And then you have the little skulls. This is very cool. I like that. Three different cards. You have moderation, temperance, and art. Now, temperance and art are similar, you know, because this is alchemy. And what is alchemy? It's art. It's changing something from one form to another. But it's also that moderation of balance, of balancing out all the different elements within yourself and within your environment. So very cool. 3 vastly different devil cards. Tell me why I like this Tower card. It kind of looks, it looks like a chapel. Where this one looks like a tower, and then this one's very abstract with the Eye of Horus there, and this, it looks like a fire-breathing dragon, and it's just a lot, and it's very abstract and just beautiful in its own way. This one's very literal as well as this one, but you still have the lightning striking the building, setting it on fire. Next we have the Star. So 3 very, very different. It's interesting that in the Rider-Waite-Smith, she's facing one way, and in the Thoth, she's facing the opposite way. And her focal point is towards the sky, where in the Rider-Waite-Smith, her focal point is the water, her emotions. But here with the Star, it's like she's dumping her water out into the universe. I like this. We have the woman in the moon rather than the man in the moon. Here we have the man in the moon, and here this is very Egyptian-esque. 3 very different sun cards. And again, we have a woman in the sun, the baby in the sun, and we have angels. So the sealed path mirrors the Rider-Waite-Smith with judgment. And then in the Thoth, we have the Aeon. Then we have the world and the worlds and the universe. And that's it for the Rider-Waite-Smith. And we have the extra Thoth card. So the Thoth card has 1 extra than the Rider-Waite-Smith. We have this. So this is the extra suit. The orb represents spirit or the soul, or, you know, universal life force energy that was breathed into the earth from the supreme being, from God, whatever you want to call it. 2 of orbs is the bowl of heaven. 3 of orbs is the vision. 4 of orbs is harmonies. 5 of orbs is the flower of eternity. 6 of orbs is the heart of the seraphim. 7 of orbs is the comet. 8 of orbs is the twin. So it looks like it's the astrological symbols. 9 of orbs is the gift. 10 of orbs is the memory of stars. That's so cool. And look at this woman. It looks like a star that exploded. I really love this. How just rich in symbolism this is. Champion of orbs. Defender of mysteries. Princess of orbs. Keeper of the spheres. So the spheres could be different dimensions, different realities. Guardian of the soul is the Queen of orbs. And the shield bearer of orbs is protecting the stars, the protecting stars. And then we have Sage of orbs, the wisdom of unknowing. So we have 3 very different Ace of discs. So here it says Ace of discs, and then what it is, the essence of earth, Ace of pentacles, and Ace of discs. So it's interesting that the sealed path is a cool combination of the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth, and it expands upon the information from the Golden Dawn, which I think is really cool. Bergen has created his own very own esoteric deck. The meditation and meditating with this, I think, would be really, really important. Doing a lot of meditation, doing deacon walks, doing journaling, and really diving deep into this. I feel that the Sealed Path Tarot will be another deck that I will use mainly for myself, just like the Tarot of the Spirit. This is another very esoteric deck. And this deck that I've done a walkthrough of, the Abrahadabra Institute created this esoteric deck that is also based on the Golden Dawn teachings, and they've made it their own. So I would say that, is the Sealed Path Tarot the most esoteric deck on the market? No, but it's one of many esoteric decks on the market. It's more esoteric than the Rider-Waite-Smith, which is more mundane. It takes these concepts and makes it easy, you know, more digestible, where the Thoth is more esoteric. You have to spend some more time with it and work with it, and if you have an understanding of astrology, it will just deepen the readings even more. And I would argue that the Thoth is more of a deck for contemplation and getting to the root of your subconscious. So the Two of Discs, And then on the Rider-Waite Smith, we don't have any writing. But on the Thoth, which I really like, we have keywords at the bottom. So for the Two of Discs and the Thoth, we have change. I find this interesting that we have the labyrinth here with them surrounded by the moon and the ram for Aries, I would assume. And then this one is just, you know, it has the ocean in the background with the waves and how there's ups and downs. And it's like, that's just life and this gesture juggling. And in the Thoth, we have the Ouroboros and how, you know, everything just always repeats. It's just you're going up and down into the different dimensions, the different realms, the different portals, right? Ugh, I love this Three of Discs. Beautiful. Four of Discs, this is seasons. It looks like we have, this looks like Pan, or the Horn God, you could say. And then we've got Capricorn here, the symbol for Capricorn. And the different seasons, I like that. And then for Thoth, it is not seasons, it's power. Five of Discs. I love that it has the pentagram. And it's interesting, we have the pentagram here in the Five of Discs. It's just going the other way. We have the Green Man for Heart of the Forest. And for the Thoth, we have Success. Bergen changed the Seven of Discs to the Sacrifice. Here you see the hard work, which is sacrifice. You're sacrificing your time to create something, to build something, which is vastly different. The Thoth is very, it's a negative connotation. It's failure, where these are saying, you know, there are no failures. It's just hard work. I mean, maybe it's not saying that there's no failures, but that you have to put in hard work. Eight of Discs is the running. We have the deer and the medical symbol and flowers. Very pretty. A man working hard. And then we have prudence. Nine of Discs, the unfolding. And for Thoth, we have gain. Ten of Discs, we have the Giantess. We have Saturn. We have this couple with dogs. And then we have wealth for the Thoth. For the first court cards for the Sealed Path, we have the Champion of Discs, which is Defender of the Wild. We have Page of Pentacles and Princess of Discs. Then we have Keeper of the Stone. Oh, I love her green dress with the Tree of Life behind her. These astrological sigils, it looks like. All the spirals, I love that. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles and the Prince of Discs. Then we have the Queen of Discs. She's beautiful. I love that card. Gorgeous. It looks very cultic. with the labyrinth and the triselect and the green grass, and very rooted. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Discs. Then we have the Shield Bearer, the Protecting Earth, King of Pentacles, and Knight of Discs. So that is it for the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth, and we keep going. And then we have the Sage of Discs, which is the Wisdom of the Heart. We have death, we have life, we have love. Beautiful. All right, we have Ace of Swords, Essence of Air. And it's interesting that David Bergen had his sword pointed down, where in the Thoth and the Rider-Waite-Smith, the sword is pointing up to the sky. That is a pure air element. Two of Swords, we have the Surrendering. So vastly different. They have their swords down. They're not going to like fight. In this one, she is blinded to the truth. She has a decision to make, but she's not going to fight. Like, she's just, like the Thoth says, at peace. So Three of Swords is the Oracle. And in the Thoth, it's Sorrow. And also Rider-Waite-Smith. I mean, you can see that. It's Sorrow. Four of Swords, we have the Crossroads. Thoth, we have Truce. Five of Swords, we have the Field of Battle. On the Thoth, we have Defeat. Six of Swords, we have the Heart of the Aurora. This one, we have a woman going on it. She's moving. She's leaving her home. She's, going on a new journey. And then we have Science. The Seven of Swords, where you have the thief, the trickster, the one running away with your stuff. I shouldn't laugh. Anyway, we have Seven of Swords. We have the Siren. And we have Futility. Eight of Swords is the Light Catcher. And Interference. Nine of Swords, we have the Council of Nine, or this is the one where it's definitely nightmares and anxiety and can't sleep. And 9 in the Thoth is Cruelty. Ten of Swords, we have Gemini and the Eclipse. And this one, the person has totally been backstabbed, and the Thoth sums it up. That person has been ruined. We have Champion of Swords, which is the Defender of Truth. She looks so fierce. I love her wings. And we have the Page of Swords and the Princess of Swords. I love that the Princess of Swords is in action. She's in flight, like she's ready to go kick some butt. Then we have Princess of Swords, Keeper of the Book. Beautiful. Knight of Swords. This guy in the Rider-Waite-Smith, now he's in motion. And then the Prince of Swords is also in motion. The Queen of Swords is the Guardian of the Mirror. And then we have these two queens, vastly different. Then we have Shield Bearer of Swords, the Protecting Sky, King of Swords, and Knight of Swords. And then we have this Sage of Swords, the Wisdom of the Storm. Beautiful. I love the mermaids on this Ace of Cup and the seashells and the representation of the water. All right, for Ace of Cups, we have the Essence of Water. And then we have these two Ace of Cups that look pretty similar. We have Two of Cups, which is the waves, and then in the Thoth, it is love. This couple sharing their cups. Three of Cups is the corals. These celebration, friendship, and then in the Thoth, it's abundance. Four of Cups is pearls, and you have the pearls here. Very nice. And the crabs for Cancer. And you see the water all around. And then here we have this man contemplating and reminiscing and missing what he had and not seeing what is being offered right in front of him. And then here for the Thoth, we have luxury. Five of Cups, we have the vortex. We have this man who is also sad that he lost three of his cups. He doesn't want to look at what he still has. I mean, we've all been there, right? We just want to like wallow. I get that. And then in the Thoth, we have disappointment. Six of Cups, we have the Heart of the Ocean. That is beautiful with the seahorses and the stars and the this kind of looks like, you know, you see those the molecules of emotion, like the water molecules when they look at it under a microscope. That kind of is like what it reminds me of. And then we have Pleasure for the Thoth. Seven of Cups, we have the Waters of the Moon. I love that it's like the moon phases and then that woman in the moon. And it kind of looks like water, which is cool. And then again, we have the Scorpion and we have some other astrological symbols here. And the Seven of Cups for the Rider-Waite Smith. This guy has too many choices, too many options. And then for the Thoth, it's debug. Then Eight of Cups, we have the Current, which is beautiful. And then we have Rider-Waite Smith, and Thoth is Indolence. Nine of Cups, we have the Shell. Beautiful. I love this person sleeping in the shell. Again, you have the different astrological signs. This looks like a sea dragon. And then we have Happiness for the Thoth. This man, he's pretty happy too, I would say. 10 of Cups, we've got the City in the Sea. That's cool. Lemuria or Atlantis, one of those hidden cities. We have the Happy Family. If you get the 10 of Cups in the Thoth, you are full, you're happy, and you acknowledge it, which is wonderful. It's a wonderful place to be. All right, we have Ace of Wands, which is Essence of Fire. I like that for the most part, all three decks and the suits follow the same kind of color combos, which is nice. Two of Wands is Dreaming. I like this, Two of Wands, and the man has the world in his hands, and it looks like he's dreaming too. And then for the Thoth, it's Dominion. Three of Wands, the Living Flame, and then we have Virtue. Four of Wands, we have Sparks. It's cool that the people are like the batteries, the spark, that ignite. And then we have the Celebration here, and then for the Thoth, it's Completion. Five of Wands, you have the Dragons of the Mind. Oh, that's cool with the dragons and the pentagram in the background. That's, you know, facing down, which they say is the devil. These guys are fighting, and then the Thoth looks a lot like the Rider-Waite Smith, where strife would work great with this as well as a keyword for the Rider-Waite Smith. Then you have Six of Wands, the Heart of the Sun. This guy is in victory, and that goes with the Thoth. So the Thoth and the Rider-Waite Smith, the pictures are different, but the meanings are very similar. Seven of Wands, we have the Struggle. He's struggling, and then for the Thoth, this is Valor. Eight of Wands, we have the Mercy of the Wolf. We have these wands coming through the air, and then we have Swiftness. So this is kind of, it represents that swiftness. We've got these little buds for new ideas. So these two are kind of more similar. But you have the astrological signs here and here. So Nine of Wands, we have the Phoenix. I love the Phoenix. And then we have Strength. And this guy, like, he got beat up, but you know what? He's stronger, and he made it, and he's still standing. So that takes some strength. This guy's working hard, and then we have Oppression because he's working too hard. He needs some help. He needs to know how to ask for help. We have Champion of Wands, Page of Wands, and Princess of Wands. So the colors for the Thoth and the Sealed Path are more similar. The Page of Wands is a little bit different. Princess of Wands, Keeper of the Blood, Knight of Wands, and Prince of Wands. And these all are, you know, pretty similar color combos. Queen of Wands, and Queen of Wands. She's a guardian of the flame. Shield Bearer of Wands, the protecting fire. And then we have King of Wands and Knight of Wands. And this is the last card. The Sage of Wands is the Wisdom of Surrender. So I'll put links to the Thoth deck. This is the mini. I really like the mini. It's just super easy to hold in your hand and shuffle. This is also by US Games. Rider-Waite Smith is the Albano-Waite Tarot. And this is also a US Games. So I'll put links for these decks as well in the description. Again, if you could help me out, and if you're interested in these and purchase from my links, that would be awesome. I would appreciate you so much. All right, so the cards, I'll compare them with the Albano-Waite Tarot. The Albano-Waite is, it's the same, it's just a little thinner. And you can tell this Thoth is a mini. But it's not too big, not too wide. It's a little wider than my hand, but not too much. The cardstock is nice. It's pretty flexible. Semi-gloss, glossy, very smooth feeling. They shuffle overhand really nice. You could definitely riffle shuffle. I don't riffle shuffle. I was gonna do a one of the sealed path layout for you guys. However, I think that because this video is already really long, that I will just pull 3 cards and read it, and then I'll do a separate video with the sealed path. Let me know in the comments down below, do you think the Sealed Path Tarot is one of the most esoteric decks on the market? Are you looking forward to working with this deck? When I saw this, I was so excited. I love decks like this. I love decks that invite you to meditate and work deeply with them. I love the fun, whimsical decks too. Don't get me wrong. There's a deck for everyone, a deck for every purpose, a deck for in different ways. And I like that David has you like that you can use your decks however you want. You can take out what, you know, certain, like you can take out the court cards. You can do that with the regular Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth as well. Or you can leave them in, or you can just use those for readings, or, you know, there's just different ways. And I really like that reminder that we are in control. You know, we can choose how we interact with the cards, how we use the cards. Do we use the deck for ourselves or for others? All right, so let's see what 3 cards we pull. 2, 1, 2. Oh, I was trying to go with, let's put that one back. Free will, people, free will. I don't want all the same cards. Oh, awesome. Champion of Discs. I was hoping for a court card. And 2 of Swords. All right, cool. So we got one from the extra deck. We got a Champion, which is an extra card, and then 2 of Swords. This guidebook is really, really, really good. It's really in-depth. All right, so it's actually right here. The astrological aspects of the 8 of Orbs make it a favorable one in a reading, being both intuitive and communicative with its insights. It is a card that wishes to progress, to drive things forward towards a favorable end result. Although that result will probably be a non-material one. The twin of this card's title is our own higher self, who seeks only the best for us. This also means that this card seeks the best result in a situation, the most satisfactory conclusion for the highest good. When drawn reversed, this celestial twin could become a more sinister phantom double. Key meanings of the 8 of Orbs, which has it looks like the Gemini twins. It says, having intuitive insight, awareness of our higher self, seeking the best results. And then reversed would be the appearance of a possible sinister omen, a lack of progress, and unsatisfactory conclusion. We got this little cover page here. The guide to the court cards is here separated from the guide to the number cards to provide a ready reference for those who wish to use the 25 court cards as oracle cards independently of the rest of the deck, but who would prefer these cards to retain their tarot interpretations. See, not just for tarot readers on page 25. Champion of Discs. A forest fire might seem destructive, but once the fire has burnt itself out, dormant new growth is given a chance to awaken and flourish. Nature has its own innate wisdom, its own way of doing things, but apparently we need to be reminded of this and also to have the necessary humility towards nature's processes. The task of the Champion of Disc is to remind us that we are the stewards of this planet, not its owners, who are free to dispose of its natural resources at our convenience. We need to remember that we are here at the behest of nature, not the other way around. The champion protects the needs of the earth, and in doing so seeks to find a balance between our needs as a species and the damage that might be caused when our needs supersede the welfare of the wild. Achieving this balance might well need a revision, literally a revisioning of our domineering attitudes, but the benefits are long-term ones. The Champion of Discs encourages us to find a balance in a situation and to appreciate and not take for granted the things we have. When drawn reversed, we are driven by a need to dominate and exploit to the detriment of others and ultimately also of ourselves. Practicing humility and respect, balancing our needs, awareness of the needs of others. Reversed, we own the planet arrogance, viewing things as more exploitable assets, exploitive greed. The act of sundering, of splitting something apart, is more than an act of simple separation. It implies a division of violence and trauma, something out of the blue that leaves us feeling torn asunder. The Two of Swords also recognizes that such a violent sundering can contain within its new creative possibilities and a new world order that is introduced after the revolution has happened. This card, while dramatic, also offers new opportunities following a crisis. When drawn reverse, this card implies division, conflict, and some form of loss. Key meanings: a difficulty but necessary separation. New possibilities are open, new opportunities. Reversed: loss arising from conflict. Division, a painful separation, feeling torn asunder. All right, so this is my walkthrough of the Sealed Path Tarot. I did a live unboxing of these where I kind of go through the book a little bit more, so I can't attach it, but it's a US Games unboxing. It's one of my newest live videos, and like I said, in the future I will probably do a video that's just a walkthrough of the spread, the Sealed Path Tarot spread. So thank you for watching. As always, have fun, keep on shuffling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.